All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us for today's technical demonstration of Goverlan. We have something really exciting for you in store today, or actually Victor does. I'm kind of off the hook today, which I'm happy about. But Victor's going to be taking you through querying Microsoft Office license keys, specifically license keys for Office 2010 and above, which if you've attempted to do this before, you know some of the difficulties involved in that. But before we jump in, we're going to do some quick background for anybody that's new to Goverlan, quicker than usual, but also some housekeeping items. As always, the Q&A and chat are open. If there's anything you want to see or want us to discuss, just drop us a note. We'll be happy to tackle that. And from there, we'll jump right in here. So go through a couple of slides just as a background for folks that are new to Goverlan. So what is Goverlan? Goverlan is a suite of products. It includes administration and diagnostics, which is ad hoc behind-the-scenes management for users, servers, workstations. It's completely integrated with Active Directory out of the box, offers some really nice features for Active Directory management. Then we offer a remote control solution in both a premium and free version. Premium version comes with all those premium features like shadow and Citrix users and unattended remote control sessions, or remote control sessions without interrupting users, and a lot more. No matter what, our remote control product is Active Directory integrated and offers really a fantastic feature in that I could search for a user and automatically detect which machine they're logged into in real time. So it maps you to your active user sessions. And we'll take a look at some scope actions today. Scope actions is targeting multiple users, computers, or groups, applying configuration changes, running reports, doing some monitoring, managing Active Directory as well. And also maybe even take a look at WMIX, and just for anybody on the line today that is interested in WMIX, next week's session is going to be focused entirely on using Goverlan WMIX, and we hope to introduce something kind of interesting, some interesting reporting in there as well. Little bit further on what is Goverlan. So it's a secure way to query, control, and administer machines no matter where they are. It's a standalone solution, and one of the really fantastic things about Goverlan is that it installs on any Windows desktop. There's no pre-configuration required, no servers to stand up, nothing like that. Drop it onto your Windows desktop, deploy a couple of agents, and you're doing some really fantastic Goverlan magic. It's also a framework to support the way you work, and by that, you know, if you're into native Windows look and feel, administration and diagnostics is going to be a place you'll feel right at home. If you like to do PowerShell scripting, which is something we're going to be showing today, we offer a great way to support remote PowerShell scripting. You can do some awesome automation, and we play really nicely with technologies like vPro, Configuration Manager, and Active Directory. The agents are small, stable, secure, and self-managed. So you deploy all the agents from within the console. You don't have to pre-configure machines. There is an executable available if you want to drop that into your image. And there's no external dependencies required. You don't have to have like .NET framework installed on your client machines or anything like that. And here's really key is that the agents are passive. So the agents sit there quietly listening for instructions from the console. So you're not going to see a lot of chatter happening. Everything happens in kind of a passive way. The console instructs the agents to do something, the agents reply, and then go back into this silent mode. The agents also get installed silently, and by that I mean it's completely transparent to the end user when you add and remove an agent. There's some agent requirements that the Windows file and print sharing be available, and you'll see a little bit more there, local admin rights, things like that. And also worth mentioning is all traffic is encrypted in both directions, absolutely nothing sent in plain text. And we use a single configured by you firewall port, and with our default port being 21158. talk to you a little bit about the central server. First of all, it is optional. If you are testing Goverlan and you're in that trial mode, you don't need to stand up the central server. The purpose of the central server is just to distribute policies to the agents on remote machines. So by that, you know, here's a couple of examples. It does a lot more than what's listed up here, but as an example, you can require end user acceptance. So instead of using a GPO template or other methods to distribute these policies, you can use the Goverlan Central Server. The advantage of it being that it's always on, always distributing the policies, and you have all of this management centralized in one place. So it's a little bit of it's a utility tool to make using Goverlan a little bit easier. You can also audit some Goverlan events like remote control session history and Windows login logout events, and you can see it uses port 21160 for communication. And with that, we're going to jump into the demo, and then I'm actually going to surprise Victor and tell him that we're going to be jumping on querying Microsoft Office license keys right away. So Victor, you want to grab the screen here? Do I have to pass controls to you? What do we have to do here to get you going?
So the first thing you should be able to do is, or actually, you know what? I think I can just share my own screen here.
Here, I'm going to make you the host.
All right, now I'm sharing my screen. Do you see it?
I see it. You're good to go.
Okay. So when it comes to specifically the latest Office product keys, since 2013 and above, and Office 365, Microsoft at runtime, specifically when installing and pushing on the Office products, the setup itself actually removes and only leaves the last 5 digits of the license key on the machines from now on. So if you try to use the old school way of trying to look for, you know, your Office product key from 2010 and back, you're going to find yourself with a little bit of a headache and not being able to find it. And that's because, you know, Microsoft increased and improved its security measures when it comes to keys. So thankfully with Goverlan, we can, you know, work with some of the lower level actions that Office and Microsoft provided for you. For example, there's a specific VB script that Microsoft allows you to go ahead and query your Office license keys. So what we're basically going to do is first utilize a PowerShell script that I specifically created, which I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate right now. Can you see it, Ezra?
Yep.
So what it basically does is it's automatically set for Office 2013, Office 365, and Office 2016, both the 32-bit and 64-bit versions. And what it does here is it queries that built-in Microsoft Office VB script. And what it does is it will only query. So this script already takes out the headache of needing to go ahead and, you know, need to determine whether the machine is 32-bit, 64-bit, and so on and so forth. So it handles all those versions. And basically, all this script does is it runs that actual, what this PowerShell script does is it runs that VB script, which pops up the last 5 digits of the product key, and then it automatically gets that 5 digits and places it into a specific registry key, which I put HKey local machine software Microsoft Office. And it really isn't intrusive. It's a very simple script. Runs that script, pipes off any of the turns it into a string, pipes off any of the other data, and only queries the proper info that we need, which is the last 5 digits of the product key that's on the machine, and then goes ahead and pushes it into the registry.
Now can I interrupt you for 1 second? Just because I hear you guys talking about this a lot and using registry values to store information about machines. And so I know I heard other folks in support mentioning, like, if you have line of business applications that you want to patch on specific machines, but you want to quickly isolate those machines, you can add in a registry value to just say this machine has that piece of software installed, so therefore every time you run the patch, target this machine. So can you talk, excuse me, talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so the old school way, given that back in the day we had a lot of limited technologies, specifically when it comes to computer names, is we would usually rename a machine towards the user whose the machine is going to belong to. So this was a way that we were able to automatically filter out specific machines by user. But now it comes to a point where we have hundreds of thousands of machines, and now it's coming to a point where the naming conventions are very, very general. So being able to filter out machines is starting to become a little bit more of a headache and a little bit complicated. So one of the methods that we like to implement here is a method to be able to isolate specific machines and or departments, for example, from and differentiate them from their other machines. So one of those ways would be to include and set a specific registry key or create a registry key on, say, for example, you have your HR department machines, and you did not add that they're a part of the HR department on the Active Directory user object or anything like that. You can go ahead and simply create this registry key, any registry key in whatever location you want, and call it HR department, and then you can use Goverlan to only condition and only filter out machines that have this registry key and perform a specific action on it. But that's basically the basis of what we're talking about in terms of isolating machines.
And so you're doing something similar here in that you're creating a registry key just to store this Office license key. Is that right?
Yeah, so basically what you're doing is, the script will automatically parse the key that's installed on that machine and automatically place it into the registry. And then you can run this across your entire organization, and you'll finally have, for the newer versions of Office, a key with the last five digits of your product key, which, and I know there are some versions, like the home and business version, there's some versions that do include a specific product key, but generally, like 80 to 90% of it won't include any type of key that you can find or query in the registry that will give you any type of product key licensing information. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use Goverlan to select this specific script. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a script package. And a script package basically allows you to have create a package where you can utilize in the future, so you don't have to keep entering information again, and you can also share it with other team members. So in this case, I'm going to go to the Welcome Page module and go down here to Manage Goverlan Objects. And here is the Goverlan Object Manager, which also holds our software packages, external controls, and custom actions. But in this case, I'm just going to do script packages. And we can go ahead and hit this plus button here and add a script package. And we can also add new categories as well. In this case, we're going to go ahead and add the script package. And I'm going to name it Office Key to Registry. I'm going to go ahead and put a description, queries, and exports last 5 digits of installed product key to registry. And then I'm just going to create a category called license queries, software license queries. In this case, I'm just going to go here, select my script, which I call it Office Key to Reg. Here it is selected. Then we have the next section, which is transfer. In this case, I'm going to transfer the script directly to this directory. I just put a %. This is the standard default. You can change this to whatever you like. And I have it deleting the file after execution. Also, now that I know that I'm going to be pushing this to Windows 7 and above machines, with the headache of UAC and such and different policies that are across different infrastructures, the rule of thumb that I like to do is always, if you can and if you have the permissions, try to run and execute whatever you can as the domain admin level. So in this case, I'm using the domain administrator account here. And that's specifically when it comes to running scripts and pushing scripts remotely, because from Windows 7 and higher, they really increased the restrictions on that. So in this case, I'm going ahead and putting our domain admin cred here to execute it as this. I can also execute it as the console user, which is a user that's logged onto that machine, or as a local system account. In this case, I'm going to hide the execution window as well so that the user does not see that I'm running the script. I'm going to wait for the completion, and I'm going to tell it to wait about 120 seconds, which that's not, the script takes about 20 to 30 seconds, well, 20, 15 seconds to execute.
So before you go on, can we talk about this this little setup that you're going through a little? For those on the call that are not familiar with scripting with Goverlan, what type of scripts can I deploy?
So the different types of scripts you can deploy, I'll show you here. I'll show you here a little trick so that when you go ahead and you select to find your scripts, you can see here in the bottom right hand corner we have the different extensions that we support. So as you can see, we support .ps1, VBS, .bat, and .pl Perl scripts.
Okay, and
that's a little trick to figure out. Hey, look, does Goverlan cover that specific script?
And so to take this a little bit further on why you may want to consider storing PowerShell scripts, VB scripts, anything like that within Goverlan and using Goverlan for the deployment. So first of all, you can see that we can organize them nicely, and Victor mentioned that they're shareable among team members. But it's also, Victor, maybe you want to talk a little bit about how that execution happens and why this may be better than the native way of doing remote PowerShell.
Well, the first thing is that Goverlan automatically reduces the execution policy for this instance of this script. So usually, by default, PowerShell does restrict any remote scripts that are trying to be run from the machine remotely or anything like that. So it does automatically already include a headache for IT guys like us that want to push scripts remotely, especially PowerShell scripts. So Goverlan already has that coded in the back end. So it takes out the headache to have to put set execution policy, whether it be in our scripts or push it out through a GPO policy on that end. On top of the fact that you can go ahead and create the script package and then share it with a team member if you want, for me is also a no-brainer because, PowerShell's, any script is complicated, and usually, every IT department has a guy that likes to write PowerShell scripts or write batches, so it's cool to be able to share those and stuff and centralize them. And
obviously, we can take these and just run them against remote machines with a single click now. So that's going to be another advantage. So in terms of the remote signing, it's my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the way this is happening is we're taking that script, we're encrypting it, and we're transferring it via our agent communication using that configured firewall port, and then running it and transferring the results back to you. So we're adding in our layer of encryption as well, and obviously reducing the need for remote signing, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And another thing that also Goverlan is doing is it's running first it copies the script over and it's running it locally because that's what we have set here. So, given the different levels of PowerShell execution policy restrictions, if you were to run it directly from this location, then that's a whole different execution policy that you need to enable, as opposed to transferring it to the machine and running the PowerShell script locally.
Okay. And by the way, the script that Victor's using, we're going to make that available, right, Victor? We're going to post that?
Yeah, I'm going to create a KBA article, and I'm just going to paste the blurb of the script, and they can just copy-paste it into their own and create their own .ps1 file from it.
Awesome. So again, if you're for everyone on the call, you'll definitely be getting a copy of that PowerShell script and be able to run through this example on your own. All right, Victor, yeah, I'm not going to interrupt you anymore for a bit.
No, it's okay. And in the near future, we are going to post an article in our tutorials and KBA section on this as well, so you can reach it in the future if you're not available to save it now. So, all right. So from here, I went ahead and created a script package for the PowerShell script, as you can see here. Now, I just want to query one machine in this case. And I'm just going to go ahead and use our search box on the right to search for Active Directory. In this case, I want to go ahead and search for a machine called Longhorn that I know, but I'm too lazy to type it all out, so I'm just going to type the first couple letters. And you can see here that it went ahead and used wildcard search. And I'm going to go ahead and set focus to Longhorn 2. Now you can see that Goverlan does provide the container and OU that it's located in and the name. And once we hit set focus, it's going to go ahead and pop us into the OU where this machine is located, and I'm just going to unpin the search box. Now, in this case, I need to add a reporting portion of this, of everything that we're trying to achieve here. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a custom action. And the custom action is basically an action that allows you to execute multiple actions on one machine. So I'm going to go ahead and right-click this and go to Manage Custom Actions. And I'm going to go ahead and add one custom action. And then I'm going to name it Query Office Product Key. And then we have the action modules up here, so I'm going to go ahead and hit Add New. In this case, the first thing I need to do is push the PowerShell script to the machine and transfer the office key to the registry. So I'm going to name this action Office Key to Reg. I'm going to go here to Add Remove. I'm going to execute a computer action in this case. I'm going to go to Processes, and I'm going to hit Run a Script Package. And then I'm going to simply hit this little 3 dots right here on the right, and it's going to pop up the pre-configured script packages that we created and our categories, and you can see the software license queries. I'm just going to go ahead and select the script and press OK, and press OK again. So right then and there, if I go ahead and execute this custom action, it's just going to push the script. But I want to go ahead and include the querying of this Office product key. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and add another action, and I'm going to go ahead and name it Query Office Product Key. You can see it automatically includes the same name of the action you created. And now we're not going to execute any computer action. We're going to report on a computer property. Now I know that I went ahead and I placed this into the registry, so I'm going to go ahead and just go up here to the top and just hit the search box up top and type in reg. And you can see this is just a quick way that you can use the little search box up top to search for all the different settings that Goverlan can report on, or properties, should I say. So in this case, it's reg. And registry value, I'm going to go ahead and hit Manage Accessible Key Paths. I'm going to delete these two here, that way there's no confusion. So here you're basically telling Goverlan what area of the registry and what hive we're going to work in, because, you know, the registry is very extensive, very long, has a huge hierarchy. So we want to specify to Goverlan what hive we're going to be in specifically. So in this case, I'm just going to hit the Open Editor because I really don't want to type out anything. And it's going to automatically open up the registry editor for me. And I know that it's an HKey local machine software, according to the script that I created, Microsoft Office. Now I'm just going to right-click this, copy the key name, and just paste it. And then I'm going to name the key Office. In this case, we don't need any of the child keys because it's going to be a value that's located in this one key right here. So we didn't include the keys, the sub key, should I say. And then we're going to hit OK. Now that we set the hive, now we can go back to Add Remove, hit Report, go down to Registry Value, or type it if we want. And then you'll see Office is now listed under the accessible key paths. And then it gives me all the different values that I can query from that specific key. So in this case, the only thing that I want to query is the data from it, because that's going to be the data that's relevant to what we're looking for. Now, right now, it's going to just, if we run this, it's going to query all values that are in that key and provide us all the data. But in this case, I just want one specific value that is in that key. And what we're going to use is conditions. And this is where the power of Goverlan gets a little bit more deeper when it comes to weeding out information that you don't need, as opposed to reporting on one huge data set and you manually going into it, whether it be Excel, and sorting through the data. Conditions allows you to go ahead and let Goverlan pre-sort the data for you, which automatically eliminates a lot of the headache when it comes to searching for specific things. So in this case, I'm just going to tell Goverlan that I only want it to query and provide me the data as a string from the registry key name that is equal to Office key. This is the same value inside of the script that you can see here, that you can see right here, new item property, HKey local machine, HKey local machine software Microsoft Office. I created the name, it's Office Key. And the property type is a string, which is the variable of the previously queried last 5 digits of the product key. So that's what we're telling it. I want you to query to only report to me the data as a string in this key, and the value name is going to be Office Key. Let me press OK. That's basically it in a nutshell. Now, say in the future, I want to go ahead and share these modules with my team members or use them in the future. So in this case, I can just drag and drop it down below to our template area, and you'll be able to go ahead and access the template in the future. So say, for example, I hit delete, and I want to streamline the creation of this custom action. I can just go down my list, look for my previously created template, drag and drop it. Wait, that's this one, that's the wrong one, that's this one, query. Where is it? Here. I selected the wrong one, like that. And then, where is the PowerShell script one? Let's put it on here. Office Key Direct. Right here. And then also, Goverlan will only execute it in the order of the way you have the action modules organized. So make sure you keep that in mind as well. So you can see here, we're creating one specific custom action that will first send the Office Key to the registry via the PowerShell script that we ran, and then it's going to use Goverlan's reporting engine to report against that registry key itself. And we're doing this all in one action. We go ahead and hit OK, and then you can see it pops up here under my custom actions. I can right-click this custom action, share it with my team, make it available to my team if I want, and then eventually another team member could come here into his custom action object manager, go to team, view available objects, and this is like a mini internal repository for custom actions that have been created by other team members. You can also enforce it on your team, so it automatically pops up into their agent, object manager, and they can't even edit any of the settings. So these are some of the cool features that you can do when it comes to sharing these actions with your team, so that other people don't have to redo the same process over and over, which helps with, ROI. So in this case, as you can see, it popped up here under custom actions. Now, custom actions appear under every single machine. It's not specific to one machine. It's basically a centralized location for you to access all of your custom actions for each machine to run it on a one-to-one basis. So in this case, I want to run it on Longhorn 2. I go to custom actions, and then I just double-click that query Office product key and hit yes. So if we just give it a moment. By the way, that VBS script that the Office VBS script takes a little while normally. And that's it. Once it goes ahead and runs, you press OK. It's going to automatically generate the report. And it popped up in my Chrome on this side. And as you can see, it created the report using Goverlan's reporting engine. In the upper right-hand corner, you can see when I executed, who executed it, the completion status. And then if we come here, you can see here Office Key Registry information, the machine name, and the last 5 digits of the product key. Now, let me show you and fact check this information. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to Longhorn 2, and I'm going to remote control it by simply right-clicking it. And I'm going to initiate a KVM session. And I'm going to come here. I just want to verify Microsoft Office. We can see it's Office 16, and we can see that the VB script file is right here. So I'm going to get this command here. It's the status. Just 1 second here. Open up the command line. Admin. Let's change our directory to here. And then we're going to run the OSPP script, OS, D status. D status. By the way, this is an official query from the Microsoft TechNet site itself. Microsoft provided this information if you want to query manually on one machine. Requires, oh, oops, my mistake, it's C script, OSPP, VDS, Look how long, just so you can see how the script takes. There you go, boom. And you can see all the information that it provides. It provides the product ID, office license name, as you can see, Office 16, license, and then here you can see last 5 characters of the installed product key, MWM6P. So let me check that here. Shift F5. And you can see MWM6P. And you can also see that in the PowerShell script, I also included the logic to remove all of this other data, because if not, it would have put all of that into the string and just parsed this information. And that's pretty much it, at least when it comes to querying the key. Well, and let me explain a little bit what I did here. So what I did is I saw the limitation that Microsoft provided to me as an IT guy, which is basically, instead of going to my the registry and simply finding a location where my key is, or even the 5 digits of the key, which is also a secure method, I have to go in and manually run a script with a specific switch D status, and it gives me a whole bunch of blurb of information. It doesn't even specify to me the information that I only need, which is the last 5 of the key. It gives us a whole bunch of data, and it leaves me in the dark on how can I query this on multiple machines. So what we did with Goverlan is I first created a PowerShell script that allowed me to just parse these last 5 digits of the key. And it allowed me to parse those 5 digits of the key and push it into the registry. And then Goverlan came into play, which was it allowed me to push this script to multiple machines at once, or on a one-to-one machine basis via administration and diagnostics. But I could push this to many machines with scope actions. Which scope actions, if you look at them, they have the same type of template look as a custom action. It's the same concept. The difference between custom action
and in those same steps, right?
Yeah, it's essentially the same thing. A custom action is basically a scope action ran on one machine. Scope action is one to many. So you can see here it has the same thing. It accesses the same templates, and I can drag and drop them, and so on and so forth. But in this case, we use Goverlan to go ahead and push that PowerShell script, and then we also use Goverlan's reporting engine to go ahead and report on that. Now, say I don't like the HTML. For me, my preference is the HTML report, because I like the way that it pops up, and I can go ahead and I can organize the data if I want, and all of these columns are sortable, and I can search through them if I have hundreds of machines that I'm going through. But some people like Excel. So you can simply right-click and go to Properties, and here in the bottom right-hand corner, you can change the report type. So in this case, I can just go ahead and put Excel document, press OK, and run the query again. My Excel is opening on my other screen, and here you get the same data, but just in Excel form, as you can see.
Awesome.
So we also have CSV, which is a blatant export. And that's pretty much it.
Okay. Well, I hope this was informative for everyone. I know that this is a question that comes into us pretty often, is how do you query Microsoft Office license keys? Since we can query any other application's license key natively through Goverlan, but we needed to add a couple of steps here for these Office license keys since this change was made. I'm going to open it up to questions. If anybody wants a demo of anything else, any other features, any comments to share, please do so. Otherwise, we'll be ending today's session right after this, because we had one specific example to share today, and this was it. It's querying Microsoft Office license keys. Next week's session is going to be focused on Goverlan WMIX. We hope to show you WMIX, just a little bit of background. It's a totally free solution. It lets you explore the WMI repository generate PowerShell scripts based on any WMI class or instance and do some other really cool stuff. And so hopefully you'll all join us again next Friday, 12 o'clock noon for our free training Fridays on Goverlan WMIX. With that, I'm going to close it out here. Thanks everybody for joining us today and hope you all have a great weekend.
Have a good one.